Well, you heard it here. What about you, Twitch chat? Are the newcomers going to make things a little spicy for Vitality, or is Vitality going to just run through into the semifinals in open arms for the dream? Vitality or Spanish Takers? Let us know in the Twitch chat. After the pick ban phase, we'll go ahead and check up with you. And as we get that started, we will find Vitality on the blue, Spanish Takers on the red. Now, it is important to note, on the roster graphic you saw just earlier, it said that Sizer was playing. That's actually Speed Draw, so a little bit of a clerical error there. Speed Draw will be playing for Spanish Takers here in game number 1. Superman being the first banned away by Vitality.
Yeah, that's interesting to ban Superman. When you are the blue side, you get that first pick, so you're going to ban away the Mana Steel from yourself instead of forcing your opponents to ban it so you can first pick it. With Zenio being a ban, I see Omen, Teamy, popular bans are going to come out. A Liliana ban could show up as well. However, with King on the roster, I'm curious to see if he's going to play in side lane with Ika, Moon in the middle, and Sotaro going to... Who's going to jungle? Is it going to be King? Is it going to be Sotaro? I'm not sure, so I'm really curious to see how Vitality is going to line up their roster here.
Teamy, Max, and Zenio. Looks like Malik as well to be banned away by Vitality. Now, Spanish Takers can have a little bit of a different decision to make themselves. They've got Omen, they've got Ryoma, Flash, Liliana being an option as well. We've seen the mid laners of Vitality, do quite a march.
Omen will be banned here, or they're going to leave it open and allow the Malik first pick, or ban Malik, and they're going to ban Liliana. Oh, Malik's
banned away, so Liliana, so that now leaves Omen, Ryoma,
Wonder
Woman available.
Yeah, we have some nice picks here, so let's see what they're going to prioritize here. Are they going to go ahead and try to pick that Omen up, or just going to go ahead and first pick the Flash right off the bat?
Flash is going to be a first pick, the first time that we've seen Flash knee-jerk reaction pick, and so you're going to have Tulin being potentially hovered there by the Spanish Takers. I'm not sure if I don't know if I like this.
Yeah, I don't
You
like
have the mid lane already picked in, so why don't you wait that?
You need to secure 2 solid side laners like a Ryoma, Wonder Woman. There we go. They're going to switch it right as I say.
Finally, there we go. There's the side laners
telepathy here
that they were looking for. So now that leaves the door open for an Omen, as well as a potential another side laner. I wouldn't be surprised as you potentially get a support locked in here for Vitality.
Yeah, like Lumber. Actually, or Zephy's. Nice. I do like Omen here because Death Embrace synergizes so well with Flash and Zephy's ultimate. Flash's Cyclone and Zephy's Death from Above, along with Omen's Death Embrace. Once they're stuck in that Death Embrace, you can then use both ultimates to then secure the kill on that person stuck there. So really nice draft so far. And let's see what Spanish Takers will pick up. They're going to go ahead and pick the Tulin now and then go for Lumber potentially, or Ormar. Wow, they're playing an extremely early aggressive competition. This could work in their favor because Ryoma, Wonder Woman, Tulin, and Ormar are so strong in the early phases of this game.
Looks like a Batman that's going to be locked in. Now, Vitality, we can get a stat check on that if I'm not mistaken, picked themselves up a Batman at some point earlier in the season and didn't actually win with this. And so it's going to have to be a question mark that's being raised of how they're actually going to be able to play this one out appropriately, as we are getting the last lock-in being hovered over. It's going to be a Joker that is locked in now for Roids and the rest of their team. Sudaro on this Batman. Talk to me a little bit about this, Sweej.
Yeah, Batman is it's gonna play support here. Looks like he's gonna get punished. He's gonna be the one jungling. So Batman is gonna be a jungler, which gives him the reason why Batman's so good is he's so strong in the early game. He has that Batarang, that stun. He does so much burst damage and physical damage with how his kit is set up. However, we see Spanish Takers with Ryoma, Wonder Woman, Tulin, Ormar. Those are extremely strong early game heroes that can shut down Batman's early game and not allow him to shine. So I feel like Spanish Taker actually has a better draft because of that Ormar. But if they don't take it away in the early game of this phase and allow Flash to scale up and Omen to get to that mid game power spike, then they could face some trouble.
So I stand corrected. It wasn't Vitality that picked up the Batman. Nova Esports, as well as For the Dream, both played him in week number 1. So Vitality not having as much of experience on it. However, as you mentioned, the early game that they have, it's something of a question that we're going to have to wait and see. Twitch chat, however, we want to check in with you. 91% believe in Vitality. Spanish Takers only sitting at 9%. So kind of a question mark that we're going to have to see if Spanish Takers, despite, as you say, having won the draft, How are they going to fare here in game number
They
1?
gotta be his early game. Ryoma and Wonder Woman are so good at first pick offense side lane because Ryoma has a passive with the Naji Nada Jutsu. It's like a long range hit ability that slows you. Wonder Woman has Amazon Shield as her passive. After 2 normal attacks, she launches her shield, also slows you.
Yeah.
So they need to abuse that. It's like having 2 abilities level 1, and that's why Wonder Woman and Ryoma are so good early game and pick so often because they can abuse that.
Well, we're getting right into it, Sweet J. It is our 4th and final quarterfinal for Europe in week number 6. Vitality versus the Spanish Takers. Now, while Vitality have secured themselves a top 4 spot, it is more important for them to secure themselves the highest seed possible. They need this win for that to happen. And already we're seeing some action onto the Vitality side of the jungle as the 5-4-man invade from Spanish Takers happens. You're going to have Sinez able to pick up that kill. Roids, in the meanwhile, was having to force the flicker over. Ika is going to end up going down.
Goodness.
3 members fall. A double kill into the hands of the Wonder Woman. And so just like that, Spanish Takers catching Vitality off guard.
Like I said, they drafted such a powerful early game composition. This is exactly what they needed to do. And as a result, 3.2K to 2K already. That is massive. Massive for Spanish Takers. Very well played there, understanding their comp's power spike, which is at level 1 invade, and taking full advantage of it.
So now, as Vitality finds themselves in a very early hole against the Spanish Takers, they're going to have to get themselves a little bit of a reset here. We're seeing an interesting standard in the sense of Ika picking up this Omen, playing him on the bottom side of the map. We're used to seeing Omen float towards the top side on that Dark Slayer side, giving him a little bit more loneliness to scale himself up, but instead decides he goes towards the bot line or bot side of the map to go up against Roids, as now we see 3 members roaming towards the bottom side of the map. Azur will end up getting caught out. Might be able to get just enough of a slow. It's going to be the ultimate coming out of speed draw, and so just like that, the Spanish Takers opening up some eyes.
Yeah, really nice Thunderbird ultimate there. However, King is going to be able to rotate and get the kill onto Wonder Woman, which allows him to put some pressure on top, but they're going to get the Spirit Sentinel here because Spanish Taker has taken the Abyssal Dragon, but Spanish Taker is still looking really solid right now. What a nice gank that they were able to get off there, allowing them to get Dragon, which is a bigger and more important objective than that Spirit Sentinel, putting them in a nice 2K gold lead. And look at these invades. That's exactly what they need to do here to shut down Vitality's jungle early.
Goldboy's done a great job at being just enough of support for his team, securing themselves that Sage Golem. Now, Spanish Takers, despite being a new member, Explicit going down to Azur, still begs the question of what can they do? A 1-for-1 trade happens, and Spanish Takers have found themselves in winning positions in other Arena of Valor semi-professional opportunities. Remember, they've won themselves some Community Cups, they've won some Gophers, and so now they have the experience, they have the potential to play together, and already we're seeing them show quite the effort here against Vitality in the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, look at the damage. I mean, Joker is ahead. Roids is able to push out an Omen. And you don't see that very often because Omen is just so strong in the side lane there. He can just dominate his opponent. However, because of those kills early and Joker getting that gold lead, he's able to push out the Omen. Look at the war boots he has and the 3 swords. That's a lot of physical damage so early in the game at the 3-minute mark.
So now, Vitality have found themselves in an opportunity where they need to reset. Now, if there's any team in the Valor series that finds this in a good situation, it is Vitality. They pick themselves up a kill and normalize themselves out because, Sweet J, this has been something that we've actually talked about with them quite a lot. They have the ability to stall themselves out in plenty of opportunities and stop the bleeding, but it's not going to be stopped if they get caught in the enemy jungle. Azur ends up falling in an unfortunate situation.
I don't understand that rotation. No, this team wasn't with him. There is no reason for Azur to go into the enemy jungle like that as a Chognar of all things. He can't steal anything. There's no reason to get vision. And as a result, because of that weird rotation, he gives over a bot lane tower, which is the dragon side of the map, full control over to Spanish Takers. And what Vitality is doing a really good job is King and Sutaro, they're doing a really good job of rotating to top lane and getting kills on the Wonder Woman. That's the second time that Sinaz has fallen as Wonder Woman here, which is huge for Vitality. But if Azur continues these weird rotations and deaths and overextensions, they're going to lose these advantages and not be able to convert them into anything.
They're going to have to be a little bit more careful as Spanish Takers have already proven that they have what it takes to catch even the best off guard. Vitality, mind you, the #2 seed as it currently stands, needing to win this game if they want an opportunity to stay in the to stay themselves in that #2 seed. If not Vitality, or sorry, if not For the Dream, as well as potentially even Nova could find themselves in a higher position. So Vitality needing to reset this map a little bit more. Siege weapons now have been deployed as we are at the 15-minute mark, or the 15-minute mark rather, as find ourselves a little bit of a slower standpoint. 4 members on the bottom side of the map, 60 seconds until that Abyssal Dragon falls. 2 of them already in the hands of Spanish Takers.
Yeah, this is massive trend. Almost a 4K goading. Look at Sotaro there. He's not going to do much damage, and look at the damage coming off from Speed Raw. He's doing so much work on this Tulin right now.
And so now you're going to find yourself a nice little scuffle. Health bars have caught themselves very low. Golden Boy actually being able to walk out alive. Speedraw will find himself walking out alive as well. And so it's not 1, it's not 2, but 3 now kills have gone into the hands of Spanish Takers, up 4,000 gold at the 6-minute
Yeah,
mark.
and look at Tulin, 4K gold, 4 kills already. He is too fed. They need to be able to shut him down or just not engage. Tulin can literally 1v3 the team right now, so they gotta be very, very careful here.
Oh.
And look at that. Look at the damage. Flash again. Won't be able to do too much damage against the Tulin because, again, his Thunderclap passive allows them to hit the Flash when he tries to jump in and poke like that, and Tulin can just respawn back in kind and do more damage because he is so ahead.
I mean, it doesn't help that he's got almost double his gold, 4.7K at the 6.5-minute mark. Prior to that kill, he was 4-0-3 to Moon's 0-2-1. So with extra resources and power behind that Tulin, there's nothing that the Flash can do. You might run fast, but it looks like the Reaper was still there to collect your life as another turret has been taken down. That's going to be Spanish Takers securing the outer ring, as well as at what it looks like to be their 3rd Abyssal Dragon. Vitality looking nothing like what we've seen from them in the last 5 weeks, but more importantly, we are seeing a newcomer completely and utterly take off the #2 giant of Vitality off guard.
Yeah, this is dangerous for Vitality because if they fall, they don't win this match, and they fall to Spanish Takers, they could end up potentially 4th seed, and that's not what they want to do because week 1, they were the 8th seed facing Team Noob and was eliminated in the quarterfinal, and they don't want that to happen in the playoffs and have a repeat of what happened to them in week 1 of the Valor series, so they have to kind of recompose themselves, refocus, and try to come back in this game, or if not, get a much better draft for Game 2 and Game 3 because Spanish Taker is a team that you cannot take lightly.
Nope, they can't sleep on them indeed because Spanish Takers have proven already in just 8 minutes why they are one of the potential rising stars as we look towards, Season 2 potentially for the Valor series and what the future lies for a team such as the Spanish Takers, as they have found themselves yet another tower, Tier 2 in the mid lane. You can see the warding coming on the top side of the map of, who is it here? It is, oh geez, what's his name? We forgot his name. It's
Zephyrs, you mean?
No, Sines. I'm trying to pronounce the name in my head,
and
it's not working. The Wonder Woman's on the top side of the map, but it doesn't matter because it looks like Vitality is not going to find themselves in a great spot. King ends up going down. It is now the Dark Slayer that is on the menu for the Spanish Takers. They're going to go in. Royds is able to secure that kill. Moon tries to go in as well as Sudaro, but it doesn't matter. Ultimate goes Royds. We are at almost 9 minutes in the game, and it is an 8,000 gold lead for the Spanish Takers. What is happening,
They went in too late. Sutaro went in too late. The Slayer was already taken, and then Flash, Moon was like, "You're going to commit suicide? Okay, Batman, hold my beer." And he goes in as well and commits suicide a second time, and now they're falling so behind. This is really rough, but they gotta get a kill, and they do get a kill on Explicit, which is good for them. However, Spanish Takers still in the lead, and the Tulin is so fed at 7.4K gold and 4 Tier 3 items already finished on Tulin.
The difficulty that Vitality finds themselves in is you have so much power into the hands of the carries for the Spanish Takers. 8-0-4, 3-0-5 for Speedraw and Royds, respectively, as the Joker, a hero that has been, by and large, a pocket pick in a lot of certain instances, is certainly showing his prowess thus far at the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, this is something that they have to think of. Look at the damage from Royce. Oh my god, one shot took over half of that tower's HP. That is the Joker's passive there. After a few seconds, his next shot does extra damage. And look at this. The Dark Slayer buff is giving so much burst over to the side of Spanish Takers.
And so now Vitality finds themselves essentially 5 digits down, 10,000 gold. The advantage that Spanish Takers have created for themselves. This was not a match that we were expecting to go in the way that this was, considering Vitality, despite losing in the semifinals of week number 5, have still found themselves quite healthily in that top 4 position, yet Spanish Takers have done a great job. And the question becomes now, Sweet J, where did it fall apart for Vitality?
Yeah, this is the early game. I mean, they need to expect that a team that drafts like Ormar is going to want to invade you, along with the Tulin. That's some of the strongest early game here. And look at the amount of damage. Vitality cannot even defend their jungle, and Speedraw is just going off the charts right now with this Tulin. So impressed with his Tulin play so far and how he's able to secure so many kills. Look at 904. He is 9k gold right now. So ahead of everyone else in the entire map, including his team.
And so now, with one high ground turret down, it looks like Spanish Takers is going to come and get their second high ground turret. There is nothing that Vitality can do. They are down so many levels. You have 3 members at level 12, and even the support Gold Boy is sitting at level 13. Spanish Takers have proven that you cannot sleep, you cannot wait. Level 3 is there, and it's going to be Spanish Takers walking away with a Game 1 victory. And the Spanish Takers have become conquistadors. If they have come into the base and the home of everything that Vitality has secured for themselves in the first 5 weeks, and in week number 6 now, our first fourth quarterfinal match. Oof, that's a handful. They've walked away with a Game 1 victory, and they've done it in quite aggressive style.
Yeah, that level 1 invade was perfect. It worked out for them. They got 3 kills and almost a 1.5k code lead in less than a minute of the game, which is huge for them. So Vitality cannot play into the win condition of their opponents. I mean, Azure was kind of overextended, and also I think the roster lineup, the way that they're doing these rosters, I feel like Redemption should jungle. They put Redemption actually on Raz last week. He played mid, and it just didn't work out for them. So I feel like Vitality needs to put their lineup in the positions that they can excel at, and I felt like this was an interesting lineup and an interesting draft that just didn't work out for them.
Now, if you take a look at the regional finals implications and kind of how these games are potentially finding themselves to work out, if by some chance Vitality does not keep themselves at number 2 spot, lots of different options are going to have to happen for them to fall to that 4th slot. And so what I would assume to be is they're pretty consistent and confident that they're going to get that 2-3 spot. So knowing that they're going to have the same, or they're not going to have to face Team Noob, maybe this is an opportunity to switch up the roster. But at the same time, you find yourselves lacking, and in that game, it didn't work out for Vitality at all.
Yeah, this shows that you can't underestimate your opponent. And when you get a solid draft like that, you play to your draft strength. So kudos to Spanish Takers really showing up here and dominating Vitality, which is something we didn't expect at all. And look at this nice rotation there by their side here. 4 versus 3 right now. Azure's not in the fight yet, and his Speedraw is rotating in there as well. He actually comes in later, but look at the damage and the focus. Look at Ryoma. He does so much AoE damage. This is why Ryoma is so good in the early game. You just cannot do much against this guy, and why we see Flash not as strong in the early game, and why Spanish Takers abuse this level 1 rotation.
And so Spanish Takers have done something that teams neither any of the 7 or 8 seed for both Europe or North America have done just yet, and that is taking a Game 1 handily off of a number 1 or number 2 seed. Vitality losing this game. Spanish Takers, if there's anything that you do as a new team, they're not going to get top 4. Top 4 has already been secured. It's now a matter of how high can they get in week number 6 to secure them as much money as possible in those 5 through 8 slots. There is still an opportunity for them to win
Yeah.
up to something close to $2,000 if they make it up into the finals. So
Yeah.
this is Spanish takers saying there's nothing to lose, but every win, every chance, every step up the ladder that they climb gives them an opportunity to win more money and to get more experience against some of these juggernaut teams here in the Valor Series.
Yeah, and why not? This is just the beginning. So kudos and really good showing there. For their first time on a Valor Series, they're doing this well against a number 2 seed. Solid draft, solid rotations, nice aggression. They need to keep this up because this is a team that has so much potential going forward.
And so now Spanish takers finds themselves on the blue. Vitality finds themselves on the red. We're actually just getting some fun confirmation. It's not 5 through 8 that the Spanish takers have to worry about. Spanish takers have to make it to the finals to secure themselves 8th seed.
Wow.
Coming into this. So $1,000 if you make it to the finals. They're going to have to get through Vitality. They're going to have to get through For the Dream. But with this Game 1 victory, you know, one step at a time.
Yeah, look at Vitality there. Smartly banning away Tulin because Speed Raw was just a monster on the Tulin. Teamy being taken off the map as well. We're going to see if Liliana will be taken off as well as Superman. Those are the 2 next most obvious bans. So Liliana will probably be taken off here. And oh, I said Omen. So they're going to leave. They're going to ban away the Omen. Or, oh, Liliana said right there. And then it's going to allow a Malik first pick here potentially. An Omen first pick could be good here. Or they can try to play aggressive and pick like Roma. They're going to stick with Roma because Explicit was great on this guy.
Yeah, there's no sense in changing up the aggressive strategy when they know that they have it at their disposal. Wonder Woman is going to get picked up there by Vitality. I wouldn't be surprised if you have... Oh, it's actually going to be a L'Oreal that's going to be picked up there. So going for a little bit more of their comfort pick, putting L'Oreal on the mark as it looks like Preda and potentially an Omen going to get picked up there. So already 2 other strong picks being picked up by the Spanish takers.
Yeah, Omen is a nice pickup with Preda here. I think Flash would have been better. Flash is really good into L'Oreal because he can poke and beat her easily because she doesn't have the same consistent damage output that like Tulin has with his Thunderclap and his Ion Blast. L'Oreal has a lot of skill shotting that she needs to land. So Flash is really good into L'Oreal, but instead they're going to pick with their comfort pick and go with Preda. But I'm really excited to see how Speed Raw is going to play this Preda.
Alice locked in for Vitality as well as the Malik. It looks like the Tar is the hover, but I don't think that's going to be the decision as it looks like Violet and Thane are going to be, as it comes down the lock-in here for the Spanish takers, a very strong composition and a healthy mix of mid, early, and late game.
Yeah, I really like this pickup here, and they're going to go with Batman again. Thane is so good into Alice, so as long as they play properly and counter the Alice with the Thane engages, they're going to look really solid. I mean, both teams have a pretty good draft. Batman, they have to win the early game, but we know that Spanish Taker has Ryoma. Batman is just a monster in early game. His first ability does double damage to a random opponent when he goes in there, and Batarang actually does a nice stun. So if Batman snowballs and gets ahead, he can go in your jungle, sneak up on you, and just blow you up. So they need to make sure they play Batman properly this time.
That's the issue that they faced in game number 1 is they got out, or the aggressor got out aggressed. Yes, Batman has the early game. Yes, Batman has the strength, but if you're not able to play him in the way of the early game that he needs, you're not going to find yourself in a very advantageous position. But as we find ourselves in the second game of our final quarterfinal here for the Valor Series Europe, as always, we want to know what you're thinking. We want to know what your thoughts are. E3 is coming ever closer, so tweet us your predictions, tweet us your thoughts as well as what you have felt throughout the entirety of Season 1 here for the Valor Series Europe. Players are getting loaded onto the Antares battlefield shortly. Seeing the compositions that we have, Sweej, I have to ask you, who do you feel is going to come back in game number 2? Can Vitality do it, or are we going to see the Spanish takers doing the first that no one has ever done in the final week?
I think Spanish takers going to win. Just based on how they're playing, the momentum, they look really solid. And Sutaro and Batman just didn't impress me last game, so I feel like Vitality has a much harder time, and they don't tend to end games early. Yeah. And it's against a Violet. Violet's going to scale really hard in a late game. So Vitality just going to have a disadvantage, I think. And I think Spanish Taker
I can feel the pain in your heart, Sweej, as Vitality was the one that Sweej picked, that 90% becoming even closer out of reach. But what is in reach? It's going to be game number 2 as they are loaded onto the battlefield. Spanish Takers, the newcomers, are here up 1 2-0 against Vitality for our final quarterfinal here for Europe.
Yeah, look at this. Spanish Taker is not going to invade. They're going to opt to play it safe here, let the Violet farm safely. Look at the positioning. I love their positioning. They're able to detect to see if Vitality wants to invade, and Vitality is not going to invade here. But I'm going to be curious to see how this Batman is going to play out, because that's the key here. Batman needs to mix play in the early game, because late game, Batman is not going to be able to do much. He can chase on opponents so easily with his passive Cake Crusader. And Forearm Strike, his first ability, he rushes up, attacks with his forearm blades, and deals a ton of physical damage to nearby enemies. And one random enemy will take double damage. So if it's a 1v1, that double damage is going to hit you. So this is why Batman is so strong in early game. And he also has Batarang he throws out, and it will stun you and does extra damage over 3 seconds of 24% of the HP that you lost. Converts into physical damage. So this is why Batman is such a monster in early game, but they gotta abuse it early game to be able to win and get ahead.
And so now we're seeing Vitality, fortunately not finding themselves in the 3-kill deficit that they found themselves at the beginning of game number 1, as you're seeing the 3-man roam, Sudaro, Azur, and Moon coming to this middle side of the map. Now, taking a look at what we see with this Alice versus this Thane pick, you have been a big advocate of picking that Thane into the Alice.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that composition holds true here?
Oh, I love it. Yeah, the Spanish Takers. And look at that nice Alice follow-up, the slow Tutaro coming in. This is exactly what you want to do about. And now you convert this into an objective here. You take the Spirit Center, but look at the response there from a Spanish Taker. They're going to try to take this dragon, and looks like they're able to do it in time here. What a nice trade here by Spanish Takers. Again, they're playing so well, and that was huge for them and massive. Look at that stun and that slow coming from Batman and Alice, and Golden Boy is going to fall, but he puts a heal just in time
there's
there.
Just enough. He's going to charge away. Golden Boy, that is now 2 games in a row where he has walked away with less than 100 HP as he finds himself a success. However, you still have 1 kill going into the hands of Vitality. You saw Sines end up falling to Sudaro. So now there's a little bit of an even situation as Ika and Royds will find themselves in a rough spot. That's going to be a nice little lasso as well as an ultimate, forcing the flicker away from Royds. And so Ika dominating in this bot side.
Man, that Thane, though, such good timing of his heal. And this is what makes Thane so good as a front line. He has his passive roll power, which when his HP falls below 30%, he generates 24% of that maximum HP over 6 seconds. That's 24% of maximum HP regenerating over 6 seconds, which makes him much harder to kill when he falls below that 30% health. And as a result, Golden Boy makes a golden escape here.
I like that one. You're getting week 6. You gotta bring out all the cards that you day.
Yes, I do. But the key is, what is Thane gonna do in this mid game now? Now that he has Excalibur up, which does so much AoE damage, especially with someone's low health, that can literally turn a teamfight around immediately. And his Valiant Charge can go in there and engage on top of an Alice composition really well. So let's see how this composition is going to work out here.
So now, coming close to the 4-minute mark, we are seeing a much slower game, thankfully for Vitality, to them rather, that they saw in game number 1, as it looks like a flicker away is going to have to be forced out yet again. Golden Boy is coming onto Sudaro, but Moon and Azur are going to retreat with the rest of their team. The heal is going to be popped out by Azur to help them escape. A little bit of enough of a boost, as Vitality has done a great job at normalizing themselves here in the first 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that was something that Sutaro went in there, but he needed support. If he waited for his team to engage, they would have killed Preda instantly with Alice's stun and the follow from his team. So I feel like him going 1v1 like that, it was a bad call.
So now 4.5 minutes in, it's going to be a take on the Abyssal Dragon. Now we're starting to see Vitality with the resurgence. The Vitality that we were expecting them to see. Moon is able to pick up them kills. That's 2 kills into the hands of Vitality. Sudaro will end up falling to Royds. But with multiple members of Vitality still left alive, Abyssal Dragon looks to be going right in their favor. 3 for 1, actually, in favor of Vitality.
Yeah, what a nice L'Oreal Smite ultimate there. Casting her Judgment Circle, forcing the team to back up, and then Malik with the beautiful ultimate there, able to secure these kills. And now they get Dragon for it. And look at Speed Raw. He's going to get caught out. Alice misses her stun, but L'Oreal is just too mobile. This is why L'Oreal is so good at chasing, because once she procs her Divine Punishment, she gets 3 ticks of damage off. Divine Punishment slows you for 50% over a few seconds there. That's what makes her so good to catch down enemy opponents and lock them down.
So now We find ourselves with a Vitality lead. Only 1,000 gold, however, Suijay, at the 5.5-minute mark. You have 2 Abyssal Dragons that have been taken, split 1-1 across the board. Vitality doing a much better job at normalizing. Now, taking a look into the later stages of the game, you have to worry a little bit if you're Vitality, because you take a look at the scaling potential of both the Violet as well as the Preda and the split pushing power that Omen is going to have as he gets more items in his pocket.
Yeah, now if they let it get to late game, it's going to be more of execution, because oh my god, what a nice rotation there. Omen's going to get caught out, he gets stunned, and look at the burst damage there. They're not able to secure him down. He activates his untouchable, which decreases damage dealt to him by 50%. This is what makes Omen so good in side lane and allow him to kind of get out of big trouble when he gets ganked like that. He can just run away, absorb a ton of damage, and not be bursted down as quickly.
So now, Spanish Takers having to find themselves in a little bit of a different situation now, as they're going to be caved upon by Vitality. Sinez is going to go down to King, and so finally, Vitality has found themselves in very solid rotations. It has been the communication. You said Redemption needed to be put back into the roster, but instead, it seemed like a switch of composition was all it needed for Vitality, as they find themselves a little piece of extra kills. More importantly, when they can secure that kill onto their side laner, such as King, good things are bound to happen. We haven't seen King in the last couple weeks. Having those couple weeks off, do you feel like he's still shaking the rust off here in this first series?
Yeah, he might be, because he hasn't been playing. I mean, I know he has an amazing Wonder Woman, so it's interesting that Ika is on Wonder Woman instead of him. But look at his engage here. Look at Ika coming in there. Nice Malik ultimate, securing the kill onto Violet there. Beautiful, beautiful engage.
So now, Abyssal Dragon goes into the hands of Vitality. You're going to see a little bit of a aggressive onslaught coming out of them. King is going to take down Golden Boy. XSplit will have fallen sooner. And so with the wave pushing onto the bottom side of the map and 4 members of Vitality to boot, it looks like they're going to be trying to do everything they can to take this tower. Speeddraw is doing his best to clear the wave, but they're going to have to be forced to back away because Vitality numbers are at their advantage.
Yeah, that was such a nice engage. These combos, these Malik Ultimate King has been so crucial landing these shock ultimates. I love the way that Ika's engaging. That's exactly how they need to run this comp. Ika is the tank. He's the one that's building the most defense on Wonder Woman. He needs to be the front line so Alice can then support with Malik coming in from the back line. And these combo ultimate stuns are just a joy to watch. Wonder Woman's AoE stun coming from her ultimate, British of Submission, and then followed with a Malik knockup from his Shock ultimate, and then Alice's Hissy Fit ultimate means the magic damage coming from L'Oreal is going to do even more burst damage, and you combine it on top of Batman's burst damage as well, it looks like a really solid combo that they're executing pretty well against Spanish Takers.
8 minutes into the game, Spanish Takers find themselves at a deficit. The aggression and efficiency that we saw in game number 1, unfortunately, has not found them in the same position here in game number 2, as Vitality have not only stalled themselves appropriately, but have got themselves in a great opportunity to continuously get themselves some kills. 9 kills under the 9-minute mark. That's almost over 1 kill per minute, Suijay. So both of these teams making sure that they're duking in themselves out here in the earlier stages of the game. 3,500 gold in favor of Vitality. The next Abyssal Dragon is spawning in the next 5 seconds.
Ooh, he missed his ultimate there. They need to take Darkslayer. Vitality needs to get ahead here. It's 9 minutes in the game, and they're losing another tower to Vi. They're letting Violet scale up when that's exactly not what you want to do. Explicit cannot get more items because they're going to lose in the late game. Violet's going to scale and do so much damage, and Batman is not going to be able to do much because Batman falls off pretty hard in late game. And look at that! They secure a nice kill on Sataro there with the Thane Excalibur ultimate coming down.
They knew that the Abyssal Dragon was going to be the focus, and so they get themselves a solid rotation over to the top side of the map. It looks like as well, the Dark Slayer is going to be started by both of these teams. They know the rotation of Vitality is floating towards that bottom side, so it looks like they're going to sneak themselves off a little bit of this Dark Slayer. They have a lot of damage. You've got Sinez, Explicit, as well as Speeddraw, the main damage dealers of the Spanish Takers. King is going to come through. He does not have he does not have a punish available. They're going to find themselves way too low. They have to be careful. It's going to be Speed Draw that ends up picking up that kill, so they're going to be able to wipe some sweat off the brow because the worries of Spanish Takers is going to be coming to life as Vitality will rotate themselves around, pick the kill up onto Golden Boy. Moon securing that. So one loss. It looks like Ika is going to have to be roaring away. Spanish Takers might be able to pick him up, so a 1-for-1 trade is what it's looking like, but more importantly, it is the Dark Slayer that goes into the hands of the Spanish Takers.
Yeah, that was huge for Spanish Takers, and then they lost Gold Boy. However, Ika, by himself, rotating down there, that's not what they wanted. They wanted to stay alive, so it was a 5v4, uneven matchup, and they could have taken more towers. Right now, they gotta save this tower and make sure it's not taken. However, with the wind and wave there, Violet and the damage up she has, it's gonna be able to take down this tower pretty fast. This is not what Vitality wants right now. They're down by, they're just ahead by 2k gold, a little over 2k gold, and they should have been ahead a lot more. Batman is going to fall off so much. Look at his items. He has 4.9k gold compared to Violet, who is ahead at 5.5k gold. This is actually not looking good for them. If Violet continues to build more damage, she's going to be a major threat to deal with into the late game of this match.
So now, despite the 2,000 gold lead that Vitality has, it's the ticking time clock. As you have mentioned, Suijay, Sudaro potentially finding himself falling off in the later stages of this game, especially being behind the way that he has 1, 2, and 2. Not the most luxurious of stat lines at 11.5 minutes. Spanish Takers started themselves up at Abyssal Dragon. Cinez was able to pick up that kill on Azur on the back line right after they were able to take that Abyssal Dragon. And so just like that, Spanish Takers get themselves a little bit of a lead. Royds does a good job at slowing Ika as well as getting off the stun, but there isn't enough team members to follow up and run suit. Moon is going to do everything he can to ward off and get these minions cleared in the mid lane, but it doesn't matter because all 5 members of Spanish Takers are in that mid lane. A defensive tower has been taken. That's tier 2 in the mid lane. The onslaught continues. The next set of waves, the siege tower is there, but it looks like it's going to get cleared out by Vitality. Yet another victory into the Spanish Takers' hands.
Yeah, this is not looking good. The gold is almost even now, and like I said, Violet is scaling into the late game, doing so much damage. They're going to try to get into Gold Boy, but they're forcing the thing. The ultimate comes up from Malik, gets on Gold Boy, and looks like they're able to secure the kill onto Gold Boy here. And he's going to fall, but can he get a kill on anyone else? And Sutaro's going to fall. 2 Roids here, 1-for-1 trade.
2-for-1 trade actually is Explicit ended up going down to, going down by Sutaro, but in the meanwhile, they're still able to get up. But look at what you have in the mid lane. Surprise, ladies and gentlemen, we've got an Omen on the battlefield as he's able to solo split push down that high ground tower, which is an unbelievable advantage for the Spanish Takers because it opens the doors wide open. In the meanwhile, he's able to get the duels in the mid lane, is actually able to take down Ika. Moon falls as well to Speed Draw in the side, so Cinez will fall, but he takes a life, he takes a high ground tower, and Spanish Takers are back in it.
Yeah, Speed Draw was also able to kill Moon after Moon killed Roids. And this is going to allow him to potentially take this tower. There's 3 cannon carts there, which allows him to put some pressure, but Batman's going to come just in time to clear this wave and not lose that tower. However, it is even now. This is exactly the situation Vitality needed to avoid. It's late game, and they're even against a Violet composition. They have a Batman who just falls completely in the late game. He doesn't have that much items. Look at his farm. He is so squishy, mostly damaged there, and he only has a Fenrir's Tooth and a Rainbreaker for damage, and that's a no cleaver. He hasn't even finished his Leviathan jungle item, which gives him more health and more tankiness. As a result, he's going to be really easy for the side of Spanish Takers to just burst down.
So now the question becomes, Suijay, your Vitality. You have your jungler, you have Sudaro down as much gold as he is. He's playing a hero that is going to fall off continuously so as this game gets later. What are your win conditions if you have any left?
Yeah, you need to get Ika into the fight there. Get Ika into the fight, get onto the Violet or Speed Raw, and then land huge ultimates from Wonder Woman and Malik. And look at Malik has to disengage and use Honor. That's not what you want here. And as a result, they're going to take another tower so quickly. Look at this. This is what makes Violet so dangerous in late game. They cannot allow this to happen.
So they're taking themselves that inner tower. Sudaro ends up picking up the kill on Explicit. That's a backline threat that's extremely important. Ika picks up the kill onto Roids as well. Speed Draw gets enough damage onto Sudaro to stop the push, but this is a solid effort here by Vitality. They're able to pick up 2 kills, but They still lost another tower in the process, and with the supers in the mid lane consistently pushing themselves down, they're going to have to be careful.
Yeah, they do have to be careful here. They need to convert this kill into towers, though. They need to get more farm onto the Batman. And they need to secure the shot. Look at Moon playing so aggressive.
Ooh, Ika picked up the kill onto speed draw, so that's another piece of the backline threat down. Golden Boy ends up going down as well. And so Vitality gets himself just enough as an effort. That's 2 members with a minimum of 34 seconds left on the mark. They've got minion waves in the mid lane, so they're not only able to secure themselves 1, but 2 towers. Explicit's going to help to try to get some sort of wave clear, but Roids as well to try to help themselves out. The double stun is going to happen. They're trying to protect that minion as much as possible, and it's going to be enough, and so they get themselves some kills. 3 towers, more importantly, the mid lane high ground, but in the top lane, the split push is continuously oppressive as Sinez is able to pick up that kill on the top.
Yeah, that was huge for attack. They got 2 mid-ground towers there, securing the high ground tower, which is going to allow them to spawn in 2 minutes. And they need to get a kill on Synos here, because that would be huge for them to get back in the game. They can reset, and then Darkslayer has just formed. This is really bad for Spanish takers if they lose this death here, and they will fall.
They're going to have to be careful, because now with Sinez down for 45 seconds, as you mentioned, the Darkslayer is up and available. Vitality realizing this almost immediately are rotating themselves towards this top side of the map. Ika doing his best to take a very quick Seagull so that way they can get vision of the Spanish takers, but much to their surprise, they're actually on their side of the jungle as they steal away the might buff. Unfortunately, though, Ika's going to be able to catch out Roids and get them down. Meanwhile, on the other side, Explicit's going to have to go on the backside. Moon might be able to pick up that kill. He's able to get just enough to damage. Moon taking down Explicit. Roids is going to dodge out the lasso out of Ika on this top side. It is split fights across the mark as a double kill comes in for Sudaro, and so Vitality back and forth, but the clean ace happens. It was a soft ace because Sinus was still dead, but now with Sinus the only one left available, as well as minions coming down into the middle side of the map, it looks like they have an opportunity to even out this match. Sinez is going to go down immediately, stalling down the inevitable, and so Vitality comes back and forces a Game 3. Vitality brings the series back 1-1, showing that the Spanish takers can't take everything for long, as despite the fact that they found themselves starting to fall behind, regardless of what the kill score might have shown, Vitality catches out members of Spanish takers a couple times, and as a result is able to get just enough objectives to secure the win.
Yeah, Vitality had such a good early game. I mean, they could have pushed it even harder, though. Like I said, Batman is so strong early. You have to win the first 6 minutes. And they weren't able to do that as effectively, even though they played aggressive. And then Spanish Takers got right back into the game, taking so many towers back. And one decisive key fight. It was a dragon, and then the last fight that really turned out for Vitality. So kudos to them. And Moon just played out of his mind on this L'Oreal there. And Explicit got caught out a few times, and that's why they lost a lot of late game team fights. Because if you're Violet, and you didn't position well, you die, your team's going to lose a lot of these fights.
That was the big question mark that was raised past about that 15-minute mark was, what are the carries of Spanish takers doing? Yes, Speeddraw did a fairly good job at spacing himself and getting some fully charged attacks off on the enemy team, but for the most part, Explicit, you said it yourself, got caught out way too many times, and by the time that he forced himself to the backline where he was supposed to be, the rest of his team was split way too much, and you saw multiple times Moon was able to dive to the backside of him. There wasn't any protection. There wasn't anyone to help, and as a result, Vitality walked away with wins.
Yeah, that was huge. Moon diving on Violet. Violet only had Gilded Greaves. That doesn't give you that much magic defense. So L'Oreal, with her true damage and the amount of magic damage she had, did so much burst damage onto Violet, and she has the Aegis. So which means that when Violet hits Moon, loses attack speed, and as a result, it's countered by that item. So really good job by Moon diving in that backline so aggressively to kill Explicit.
And so now, as we find ourselves at a game number 3, players are getting loaded into lobbies very soon. But I want to go ahead and take a look back one more time. We've got a replay here that we're going to show. And this is where, despite the power that Spanish Takers had, it was a great effort to defend the Dragon by Vitality.
Yeah, watch Ikas engage here. Watch King with the follow-up Malik stun ultimate. Watch Golden Boy. He's kind of out of position, gets really low. He uses his ult too early. You don't want to do that as Thane. And look at this Malik ultimate. And look at the engage by Ikas. Such burst coming down. And the Malik ultimate coming down, securing 2 kills there. And then Royds getting a kill on Batman. However, they're going to lose and give up 3 deaths there and Dragon. And this completely turns it around for Vitality, giving them a nice lead from 9K even to, you know, giving that 2 to 4K gold lead later on.
It was Vitality coming back and showing that they are a top 4 contender in Europe for a reason, forcing themselves a game 3. And now they're going to have to win. This is now a best of 1. It was both have come off the mark. Vitality back on the blue side, Spanish Takers on the red, and a Tulin first banned away by Vitality.
Yeah, Tulin is really smart because we saw Speedraw playing that Tulin so well, and they're going to go ahead and ban L'Oreal because of how well Moon plays the L'Oreal. L'Oreal is so strong on Moon, so this is a very smart, dynamic ban. They're switching up their bans now to really target against their enemy opponents.
And so Teamy as well as Yanni banned away by Vitality and Spanish Takers, respectively. Spanish Takers, their second ban, something to consider. It is a Zenial. Zenial has not seen much of the light of day here in Europe thus far, being sent to the ban bench. Now Vitality has options. Do they take away the Omen?
Yep.
That could be a very
Superman. They banned Superman
here
as well last time, not Demon Over. Maybe one of their... Yep, they're going to ban Superman because I feel like they don't play it. That's why you ban it on that B side, or that blue side. So now Spanish Takers, they can probably ban away, like the Liliana would be a good ban because she's so strong.
Now the question becomes for me is, do you lock in something like a Malik, which you've seen time and time again, or do you just go straight for the Omen and deny that from Sydney?
Wow, they're going to actually go for Wonder Woman because Ika, again, played amazing on this Wonder Woman. Nice engages. They're going to deny the Flash and take the Flash away, which means that Preda is going to have to be played on the side of Moon, or they can opt for like a Raz or something else to try to play a more aggressive mage engage composition here instead of a more defensive Preda. Malik being taken off the board, Flash being taken off by Spanish Takers, looking good for them so far.
We're going to see Spanish Takers playing Flash for the first time. Ryoma and Omen being locked in, so that's going to be a Ryoma potentially in the jungle that we're going to see coming around. So something to look forward to. Zephys and Joker almost snap-picked by the Spanish Takers, and so it seems as if they know their composition and they know what they're wanting to do.
They can take Alice here, Thane, or Ormar and play a really aggressive early game composition. Zeo would be good. If they want to go that, I would just go full Ormar and just go super hard early game. Lumber is good as well, but instead they're going with Preda. They have still a really strong early game invade, but Malik is really strong as well. But Ryoma and Wonder Woman are some of the strongest early game heroes because of that passive that they have. And also Malik's passive. This is why he's such a good, strong early game hero as well, because his passive does true damage. When he lands that cleave, his next normal attacks do true damage, which makes him so strong level 1.
So it seems to be a Mina as the final lock-in here for the Spanish Takers. It is a roster of power that you see coming out of Vitality, a very strong draft phase for them. Essentially, I would say winning it out in stunning fashion. Wonder Woman, Ryoma, Omen, Lumber, and Preda, with the Spanish Takers picking Zephys, Mina, Joker, Flash, and Malik. What do you think of this Spanish Takers roster that they have at the end of this draft phase?
Yeah, the key is Omen is such a good counter to Flash. Flash jumps in, Omen can... he has a skill shot, his ultimate though. He has a skill shot that Death's Embrace, but if he lands at Death's Embrace and locks the Flash in, Flash is stuck in that circle and can easily get focused. So Flash has got to be careful around the Omen. So I feel like as long as they can play around the Omen and not get caught, then Spanish Takers has a good shot. But Vitality, I'm really liking their draft right now because they have the early game, but they need to secure and win the early game. Otherwise, they're going to allow the Flash to really, and Joker, scale into that late game.
Well, Spanish Takers are taking Vitality to a game number 3. How did they did that, they wonder, considering the fact that this is the first time that we've seen Spanish Takers in the Valor series? Well, Sweet J, they looked at the VODs. They looked at the back of what else exists. And so you can do the same if you're training, if you're learning, or you just want some entertainment. YouTube.com/Valor Series. We have all the match VODs. We've got the highlights, all the exclusive content that you could consider and think of, as well as the relegation recap show that gives you all of the information for the matches that we unfortunately are unable to broadcast on Saturdays. And so as teams are getting loaded into the battlefield now, your hopes and dreams of that correct prediction is alive. Sweet J, Vitality, and Spanish Takers now at a game number 3. We're going to get loaded right onto the battlefield as game number 3 for our 4th and final quarterfinal of the Valor Series Europe week number 6 continues now.
Yeah, the thing here is Vitality. They gotta play this early game. They have an early game competition with Ryoma Jungle. Ryoma Jungle is really good invading, but look at the side of Spanish Ticket. They're gonna invade here. Prada misses the charge, which means it's gonna be off cooldown, and they can't respawn here, unfortunately. And because they missed the charge, look at the aggression coming from the side of Spanish Takers.
And so already Spanish Takers doing what they did in game number 1 and having some bottom side of the map pressure at just the level 1s. Vitality, though, being a little bit more cognizant of this happening as Sudaro is going to get a little bit of extra damage. King's going to rotate himself down around as well. Nobody's in the top lane. Everybody's having a party in the jungle as First Blood goes over into King, taking down Speedrop.
Yeah, First Blood is definitely worth more than the red buff. Explicit, such an awesome punish there, taking the red buff away from Vitality. However, First Blood is just worth way more. That 300 gold is massive, and that's going to go all to Wonder Woman there, giving her a nice healthy chunk of gold that allows her to now be more aggressive. And once they reach level 2 here, they need to keep up this aggression. With Robot Wonder Woman ahead, you gotta stay ahead and continue to invade jungle and deny farm to keep that snowball going.
They've done a great job thus far at making sure that once they won themselves those early trades to push on to the top side of the map, it looks like it'll be a 3 buff in favor of Vitality. Up themselves only 300 gold, but it doesn't matter because pressure all the same is in their favor.
Yeah, pressure is in their favor here. What they need to do here is wait till Omen reaches level 4, which is coming up pretty soon here. Once he reaches that level 4, they need to make plays off that ultimate, along with Ryoma and Wonder Woman. You know, Wonder Woman will have the Braces of Submission unlocked level 4 as well, and they can make a lot of plays with those engages from Wonder Woman and Omen there, locking down their opponents and CCing them.
So now we are seeing the Abyssal Dragon being tested out. Don't want him coming out of the hole quite yet because it looks like a fight might happen as members are on the bottom side of this map. Spanish Takers and Vitality, mind you, remember, are tied 1-1. Vitality, if they want to retain the number 2 seed for Europe coming into the regional finals at E3, they're going to have to win this game and then get themselves prepared for the dream on Saturday.
Yeah, Omen is level 4 now. This is their chance to make a play here. They need to start making a play with this ultimate here. However, they're not going to be able to rotate and cancel. He does use ultimate, but his team is not with him. Don't use the ultimate if your team's not with you. You can't use that to your advantage. And as a result, the heal has to be used by Azure, and they wasted the Omen ultimate. And now they don't win that lane, and it's not an advantage that Vitality is able to get.
Vitality not able to push themselves off the mark the way that they want, despite getting themselves a very early kill into the pockets of King. They haven't been able to capitalize too much as Sudaro gets a lot of damage done onto him by Roids and Golden Boy. Speed Draw as well is around, but he's going to have to be forced to run away as he does not want to go into the enemy team here of Vitality. Speeddraw and King are going to get themselves in a nice little piece of a fight. Meanwhile, you see Sinai's in the top side of the map. He was split pushing on Omen in game number 2, but it looks like it's the Malik doing just enough as an effort, forcing a rotation of King as well as Sudaro into the top side of the map.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Vitality. They have the early game comp, and they're playing against a Joker ADC composition. So if Joker gets ahead in the late game, or gets to his late game and gets his power items for that damage, that burst damage he's able to do, that's going to put Vitality in a really rough spot. And again, if you pick an early game composition, you have a Ryoma, you need to abuse that early. And I felt like Vitality is not playing their comps win condition. And this is why they excel better with the Lindis composition and more defensive play. This is a nice Earth Flare coming in there, but they're not going to take advantage of it, and they're not using the combo properly here. And as a result, it might turn in their favor. Vitality, and Sudaro does get a kill, and Explicit is able to jump away and go to safety.
Spanish Takers is able to pick up that Abyssal Dragon. But what are they going to lose, as it looks like you see Vitality finding themselves in another rough position while up only 200 gold. Spanish Takers have done a good job at showing a lot of this early pressure explicit, getting a little bobbing, a weaving, making sure that Moon doesn't shine down that damage, that light of damage down onto him, as now King and Sines find themselves on the top side of the map. Another reset here for both teams.
Yeah, Vitality doesn't have the lead though. They got first blood. It's 2-0. They haven't converted to any dragon or objective. Spanish Taker took the first dragon. This is something that, you know, Vitality needs to not let happen. They're only able to get this tower, though, which is good.
Oh, the tower hasn't been taken just yet because a rotation by Spanish Takers allows Speeddraw to pick up that kill onto Ika. You're going to have the Cyclone happen, which will pull Moon into his team. Golden Boy ends up picking up that kill, which allows Speeddraw to pick up an Orb of the Magi, but more importantly, allows a tower to be taken in favor of the Spanish Takers.
Yeah, that was a huge, what a nice counter rotation there. Punishing the over-aggression or tower taking from Moon there and Ika, and as a result they get punished for it. And look at this now, Vitality has lost the lead in a competition that doesn't want to lose the lead. So now they need to stop making these mistakes and start making plays.
So now we find ourselves in a position where Vitality, despite the fact that they drafted a very solid composition, are going to have to get themselves stabilized and allow themselves to scale up. Moon, unfortunately, has only just now secured himself the Orb of the Magi. 2.3 thousand gold. His opposing mid laner's 2.8. 500 gold might not seem like a lot, but at only 6 minutes in the game is something that both of these teams have to consistently consider, as Vitality now starts up the Abyssal Dragon yet again, but now you're having a rebuttal coming out of the Spanish Takers. You're going to have Speeddraw doing his best to jump in and out of the fight. Explicit ends up picking up the kill. That's the second Abyssal Dragon for him. He will almost walk out safely and alive. He's going to bob and dodge through the bush. King will end up picking up that kill. The lasso misses. Roids ends up falling in the meanwhile, but just like that, Spanish Takers yet again secure themselves the Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, nice job there by Explicit. But they're going to give 2 deaths over and a tower, unfortunately. But it's not a bad trade. They don't fall behind. It's still even. And Spanish Taker is able to trade towers. Senna is doing such a good job with his split pushing there, like he did on Omen in Game 1. And now he's doing on Malik in this game. So really nice job by Sinas.
7 minutes into the game. Kills are in favor of Vitality, but gold and objectives are in favor of the Spanish Takers. 2 towers, 2 Abyssal Dragons. They have done everything to recover from every step that Vitality takes towards them, and they're able to come back twofold. It has been a valiant effort by Spanish Takers, forcing Vitality to this game number 3. They came out hot in game number 1. They faltered in game number 2, but the issue wasn't the fact that they weren't capable. They ended up doing it off of their own mistakes and Vitality capitalizing. Spanish Takers have shown in now 3 games they can stand toe-to-toe with, as it stands right now, the number 2 seed in Europe.
Yeah, definitely. Vitality looking a lot weaker than what we see. Is this because Redemption was benched here and this team is trying to build more synergy with each other? Because they're not playing the aggressive Vitality that we see. Although they are more of a defensive-oriented team, they're not having nice counter engages. You know, they are not able to convert the mistakes of their opponents into massive leads that we saw Vitality do, because they're more of a waiting team. They wait for their opponents to nice Plague Spectre. They're hitting the people in the bush. So really good anticipation from Vitality. But again, they have to convert these kills. They have to be the one making plays, because I feel like they're waiting for the enemy team to make plays and not be able to counter engage properly.
The immediate damage by Azur to go straight for the Abyssal Dragon shows me that Vitality wants to secure themselves some neutral objective at this stage in the game. They have been faltering for 2 games in a row thus far. It has not been their best effort at securing any of these early dragons. Speeddraw is going to try to get some poke onto Moon. It's not going to be enough. Azur and Ika are going to be around to support themselves enough to get the Seagull and to get themselves a little bit of knowledge. King, in the meanwhile, is going to be split pushing on the top side, so an advantage is in favor of Spanish Takers if they decide to go for that Abyssal Dragon.
Oh, he missed the Malik ultimate there, but Azur is not going to... He's able to get run away from this here. However, Spanish Takers takes a 3rd Abyssal Dragon. This is not good for Vitality. As a result, the level lead is going to slowly go over to Spanish Shaker. Look at that, Zephy's already level 12 compared to his opponent jungler. However, nice job by King there, securing a tower, putting Vitality back, and not allowing as big of a gold deficit.
1,000 or 1,200 gold isn't an unovercomable object. It's not something that Vitality hasn't been in a situation close to before, but if they have any chance of coming back, it's going to make sure that they defend themselves this tower. You see a nice little forcing of the recognition there, but Explicit still goes down, unfortunately. Azure finds himself caught into the front line of the map. Ika takes down Golden Boy. Royds is going to go down. The last auto attack's going to do it. King is able to secure themselves their victory. It's going to be an immediate back off the tower because what's next? Dark Slayer.
What a massive Plague Spectre by Moon there. Oh my god, this guy carried on L'Oreal and he is carrying on this Preda. He charged up this Plague Spectre. Flash, unfortunately, went in, didn't back out in time, got hit by the Plague Spectre, got hit by AoE, and as a result, they all fall down and give over 4 deaths, allowing Vitality to now push this advantage.
So with that, Vitality secures themselves the Dark Slayer. What little mishaps they had in the first 10 minutes of the game, they were finally able to turn themselves right around, securing themselves the kills they needed to get the Dark Slayer. And so now, as it stands, they have switched the gold lead in their advantage, 1,000 gold. Vitality holds over the Spanish Takers, but Spanish Takers having 2 different towers down, they still have themselves objective opportunities. 10 seconds for this Abyssal Dragon, and look at what we have here. Nice little steal. Royds is going to try to get himself some poke. You've got the Abyssal Dragon spawning right about now. You've got Ika doing a good job on the split push. Some bobs and weaves coming out of speed draw, but Vitality, unfortunately, not able to take too much just yet.
King is going off on this Wonder. He's playing Wonder Woman so well. That steal there, that lasso, taking away that blue buff from Flash, that was super impressive. And we see why King made a name for himself on this Wonder Woman in the previous weeks in the Valor series. Crazy backdoors and plays. This is such an awesome play to watch.
Look at the damage that Moon's Play Expector has already at 11.5 minutes in the game. He's already on about himself 2.5 items. You can see now a little bit of a scuffle under this tower. There aren't any minions, so King isn't going to be able to take it. Golden Boy, as well as Speeddraw and Explicit, find themselves having to go back to their tower. Royds goes down to Mood, a nice little 1v1 there. And so with just enough of a siege minion, the tower's going to almost find themselves going down. It's going to do a lot of extra damage. Moon ends up picking up that double kill onto Explicit. Speeddraw will find himself in. He's going to have to bob and weave out. Moon charges up that Play Expector to force Golden Boy to back up. Sine's in the meanwhile is going to try to get himself a little bit of a fight, but he doesn't have the tower to protect him. Lots of tanky stats for that Malik, though. So he's going to have to be doing just enough to stall out for his team. Speeddraw is going to join the fight. Sine's is going to go on the back line of Moon, but look at the auto attack damage that he has already at his disposal, though just as I say that, Speeddraw being able to pick himself up a kill, the tankiness rather. But look at what's happened in the bottom side of the map. Ika picking up that high ground tower.
Yeah, Ika and King are just making plays, and then Moon is just doing so much damage and doing as much AoE as he can. Really, really nice plays there by Vitality with these engages. Ika made a play in that beginning of that tier 2 tower. He was able to lock down with Death's Embrace, get the kill, and allow him to take that tier 2 tower. And the synergy and the plays coming from Ika and Sutaro are looking so good right now.
Looking good, looking great, as Vitality has been doing a great job at creating this split push pressure across the map. Both King and Ika. Usually, we see teams in both Europe and North America revolving a large piece of their playstyle around one split pushing power. There's only one member on their team that has the prowess to split push efficiently. However, both King and Ika have done their part thus far. King taking a tower on the top side, Ika doing a good job at taking the high ground tower in the bot. And so now, with the cross-map pressure that they have at their disposal, Vitality has just enough life and potential to take this game.
Yeah, and look at the damage from Preda. Did almost 3,000 damage from a fully charged Plague Spectre on that minion wave. This is why they gotta be careful. If they get hit by a Plague Spectre, that is gonna be GG in a lot of these team fights. So Spanish Shaker has to play very cautiously. Look at Flash. Every time he goes in, he gets poked out. So he's gotta be careful there. And this is the weakness of Flash. When he goes in like that, you can return the damage. You can fight just as hard as he's trying to use Mach Punch to punch you in the face. Look at that beautiful Earth Splitter. However, Zombie converted, and nice Play Expector lands on the entire enemy.
Oh, a little bit of a poke there coming out of the Play Expector. The Cyclone, unfortunately, only hits one member, and it's not the one that they were looking for. Sudaro is down to 45% HP, so Has going to have to be forced to walk away. Moon, in the meanwhile, that is not where you want your carry to be. He's caught between a rock and multiple members of the Spanish Takers as they're able to secure themselves a victory in this fight. One member goes down. You can see the team fight is consistently happening as Azure picks up that kill onto Goldboy, so that's just enough of a rebuttal. Sine, Speeddraw, and Royd find themselves in a rough spot. The Malik ends up falling, Ika being able to pick up that kill. Speeddraw tries to go in and get extra damage on the Ika, but it's not going to be enough. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, you had not one, but two towers it looks like it's going to be able to go down in favor of Vitality, as well as that kill onto Royds. You've got the minions coming out in the mid lane. Speeddraw is the only one left alive, but with Ika, King, and Azure, Vitality will walk away with Game 3, and more importantly, a spot in the semifinals.